All right, Trendy fam, good morning. Happy Wednesday, April 15th. Hope y'all had a great first hour of trading. Got a 30-minute break or a couple of minute break, whatever the case may be. And now we are good to go here as far as uh, doing just a look at my Mag 7 charts as far as the major levels go. Yeah, Donald, happy tax day. I'm glad mine are done. I do not enjoy taxes. I do not get a return I owe every quarter, so it's not fun for me, but I'm glad it's done, at least for now. But yeah, as far as today goes in the SPX room, we had a great day of trading. For me, all winning trades was actually able to catch the most recent PMZ move break above the PMZ all the way up to our sell zone or that supply zone very near all-time high. I was just trailing the stop using the 38.2, which is what I love, absolutely love to do. I'm going to show you that chart real quick, just since I'm talking about it. I know SPX isn't usually traded in here, but I'm just going to show you since I'm talking about it. Had a couple of trades before this, winners, but the most recent one was this pullback in here to the PMZ, and we broke above the PMZ. And then I went long and took some trims back up here at levels. And then was trail stopping up using the 38.2 of just the move that today. And like I said, I went ahead and exited up here and let the SPX room know just because I didn't want to miss the exit with the trail. But what I love to do is use the bull channel as my stop when in a runner type position. And so that's what I was doing. Actually, that's what we did yesterday in the SPX room for a fabulous win at the end of the day yesterday. And today it might turn out to be an equally fabulous win, but I went ahead and exited the runner early. Um, so, with that being said, I'm going to do what John suggested, and I'm just going to go over. I like to build out the Mag 7 charts, even if I'm concentrated on SPX. I typically have these built out regardless. And so here on the Apple chart, you can see 264.17 is the top of the most recent zone that Apple's in. If I look though at the 4-hour chart or my 4-hour chart, I can see upper monthly edge right in here. I believe that's the upper monthly. Let's see. Is that monthly? Yeah. Upper monthly edge is where Apple is at right here. So on the 4-hour chart, I would pull this target down and then say that 266.53 be the top of the zone. And this is obviously supply, but it is also um, a great target if you are long on a shorter term basis for Apple. Now, most of my trades are based on long term equity right now or day trading. So I don't have a lot to do with Apple here right now, but that ACDC move on this 4-hour candle was absolutely beautiful after Apple ended up red yesterday on such a bullish day. So the target, if you're long Apple, I would definitely take some profits at 264.13. Then my next target is going to be 266.53 up there on this 4-hour chart. Now, if you're feeling FOMO because you missed this move and where Apple sat and consolidated for quite some time, it looks like over a week, it sat and consolidated right in this area. I wouldn't FOMO long here for sure. That's me. I would wait for a pullback and a valid type of pullback. Now, what I would do is I would go with a smaller time frame and maybe take an entry off of an intraday blueprint. Or at like for instance, if we get to the PMZ right on um, Apple tomorrow and you get above the PMZ and say we get a pullback today to somewhere around 261 or to 260 and then tomorrow it sets up for a PMZ long, that is a valid pullback and trigger to start a swing trade back targeting 264 to 266 and a half. But I wouldn't know if that's going to set up until later in the day today or tomorrow. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an alert at the bottom of the bull channel of this move. And then I'm going to tell myself that if Apple pulls back into this level but holds the 618 on any kind of pullback, then tomorrow price above the PMZ is a trigger for a shorter term swing trade. Everybody understand how I would use that tomorrow's intraday chart to swing trade Apple if it were to pull back into this zone. Awesome. Glad that's helpful, Karen. So I have my alert set on Apple. That would be my plan on Apple. We get a pullback today, right? And Apple actually pulls back the bottom of the bull channel to the bullish golden profit area. Then I can either start the trade if it's at towards the end of the day today or tomorrow morning have Apple as my focus for a day trade. And if price is inside of 261.71 by 260.22 tomorrow morning and the PMZ is in here, price above the PMZ, I'm taking it as a swing trade and going out to earnings. Remember, Apple has earnings in 15 days. Going out to earnings to play a potential bounce back to 264 to 266 and a half, and then above there 274.42 to 280.90. So I like that idea for a trade on Apple. Yes, yeah, I will, twins mom, if I get that opportunity. Sure will. All right. So that is an idea for Apple. Now let's look at Amazon just to see if we have any sort of idea kind of like that on Amazon. Amazon also has earnings, but we have a little bit of time to play it. Now, Amazon is in supply. It's not at an area that I'm looking to go long from, not to start a position. Top of this supply zone is all the way up at 259. It is a tested zone for sure. Some areas inside of here would be this peak here at about 251. That looks like about where it got to yesterday, maybe. Looks like 251 and a half, but 259 is a key level, 256 before that. So there's some levels inside of this supply on Amazon, and then I am watching here, guys. You see all this stuff coming back to their PMZs. We can trade these PMZs. Let me go. I'm going to switch very quickly from this Amazon chart to, let's say, IWM because it's at a PMZ. But let me look at like the 4-hour chart to get an idea. We're right at supply, right? Daily chart in supply. All right. Weekly chart in supply. Okay, so now that we have established on all high time frame charts, we're in supply. Now let's go look at the PMZ. And here's my day trading chart for IWM PMZ. All right. All right, there is supply, and IWM has popped up to the top of the PMZ. That means that above the PMZ, we can go long. We're targeting upper daily edge and then this swing high. As far as risk goes, I would use the line in the sand as my risk. So I'm going to have a risk of about 50 cents here, and reward is less than that. So not a good risk to reward here. And I have to respect an upper daily edge. So it's not a good risk to reward to the upside. Vice versa, if I wanted to trade this thing to the downside, I would again extend the width of the PMZ to be below the line in the sand. Then I'm going to use the low of the day as a target. So if I went short below 268.50 and my risk is 50 cents, right? So 269 being my stop. Is the reward at least 50 cents? And really it's not. But below there you got this daily edge mid, and then target would be the lower daily edge, 266.67 here. So risk to reward, just because the PMZ is right at the top of the upper daily edge in this supply zone, I don't have a good risk to reward to take a trade. IBIT is also right at its PMZ. Let's look at IBIT. We got a little bit better idea here. You got the line in the sand. That would be a target. This looks like, I don't know if that's an upper daily. Yeah, it's a lower daily. Nice, right there. So risk on this trade, I would use probably this monthly edge here. Or you can just use the bottom of the PMZ or this recent pullback as your stop. As far as the top of the PMZ, it's 42.06. You have 42.15 and then 42.34 as targets above. But from a risk to reward perspective, you have about 20, 33, 30, no, sorry, 30, 27 cents of risk and not 27 cents of reward. Even high of day doesn't give you 27 cents of reward. So it's just chop, not a lot of good risk to reward there. What else? Gold. Gold is at its PMZ. So let's see if we can get a trade or a trade idea on gold at the PMZ. Looks like today it opened above the PMZ and then we've just slowly sold off from there. My buy zones on gold, my buy zone is down at 438.25 and my sell zone is 445.45. Above there, you got an upper daily edge. You got the line in the sand But it's fallen below the PMZ, so that's actually technically a trigger short. And the top of the PMZ gives you a risk of about 36 cents, and the bottom of the PMZ to the first target gives you a reward of about 60. So it does have a risk to reward if you wanted to aggressively short the bottom of the PMZ right here. This would be first target and second target right down here. I would use this wick high as my stop. I personally would. But if you wanted to just use the width of the PMZ, it would be 440 178.79. I would add the 21 cents of risk though. Okay. So that is an active trade idea on gold below its PMZ. Now it has pulled back about $3 from where, yeah, $3.79 already. But below the PMZ is a trigger short on gold. I talked about earlier a PMZ trade on USO, and John was talking about shorting CL. But my trade was to go long above the PMZ, and I actually got filled on my target up here. Now, I didn't alert this because John was talking about the opposite trade of me. And that's not something I like to do. John was, so I don't like to go long something that John's talking about going short. So for that reason, I did not go ahead and alert this play on oil above the PMZ. But this is whenever I came in and I first mentioned, hey, USO or CL is coming above the PMZ. It could be a PMZ trade up to the line in the sand and daily edge mid. Twins Mom, I can take a PMZ trades all day long. As long as you have a process to trade them, and you're not looking for a home run hit, right? So, you know, spending as much time as you have in the SPX room recently, you know that on SPX I would trade the PMZ all day long. Well, I'll trade the PMZ all day long on any name because it isn't the name that allows me to trade the PMZ all day long. It's the process, right? So for that reason, I don't care the name. What I do suggest though is if you're trading the PMZ on something like Apple or Amazon or even, well, USO moves pretty well, but Apple, Amazon, Google, something like that, and we're past that first hour day trading window of the market, then I wouldn't use a 0 DTE here. I would use that next closest expiration is what I would do there. All right. Does that help you out, Twins Mom, there? Like the USO trade, Twins Mom, it was right past the first hour of live trading. But to me, it set up for a play above the PMZ, and I just took the trade. Um, more based on the oil futures chart. But I liked the trade. I liked it for a play back up to the line in the sand. And so I took the trade right here, as I mentioned on the mic. And here I just took my profits. Got out of the trade. John said he would be looking to go short in this area. So I went ahead and got out of my trade. But this would be the next target above. Okay. All right, let me go back to the Amazon chart now that I have looked at gold and IBIT. Really, I mean, if I'm being honest here, as far as day trades go, let's look at the gold one though, using the gold futures just to see. All right. Here is my day trading chart for gold futures. And I see that right in here, gold futures has a buy zone just below this PMZ. So gold futures is, trying to hold the bottom of the PMZ. The trend on the day is neutral. The 5 minute cloud is resistance until proven otherwise. It opened above that cloud, but since it got below the cloud, it has been shortable below the cloud. So, that being said, you have an immediate resistance here at 38.34 and a half, and that's immediate resistance. The bottom of the PMZ is support, but this zone here is the next area of support. Um, Kimberly Cooper, typically if a zone is gray on my chart, it's because it is a tested zone. So if it's a tested zone, a zone where price has come back to many times, then I will make it gray. Just that tells me that we have tested the level and it isn't a fresh level. I'm going to be conservative at it. So if we made a new blueprint, because I didn't do one today for the gold futures chart, if I made a new blueprint, even for tomorrow, unless there's some big old change in gold futures, I would use this inside and down here on the 2 hour as my sell zone. And I want to show you the gray zone before, and I'm going to make this one red. Okay. And the gray zone from before is actually right in here where you have inside and up. All right. And right there. Now, also run some Fibonacci of this week's move. That's where I've been anchoring my fibs because of the overall bullish sentiment of this week so far. Anchoring fibs here. This is actually the bottom of the bull channel. And then the 618 and all of this stacks of edges right here. Nice area of support. So below the PMZ, this becomes a great area to target, but it's also part of this zone that would be a great place to potentially go long from. For that reason, I'm going to make this zone wider to include the 618 and the monthly edge mid and weekly edge mid. All right, everyone see what I did there? So that becomes my buy and my sell zone for gold. And it's gray, Kimberly, because inside and up, this is just a test of this. You see it? All right. And then I extended the width of that because of the 618. So there's a buy zone. Another obvious important level is the daily edge mid, where as long as price is above it, we expect it to be support. All right. Now let's go to a 5 minutes so that we can see our PMZ and get some potential trade. All right, below the PMZ, your risk on the PMZ is 3.94. So from the bottom of the PMZ at 48.29 to 48.19, that's 10 points. So that would be a risk of 4 for a reward of 10. Now, you could absolutely consider this bottoming wick right here as a reward. Notice the 5-minute inside and up pre-market where that wicked down to. So 48.22 and a half could be the support level, but I like the daily edge bid down here for a possible reversal. So it would be a target to the downside. So if you take this 22 and a half as a first target, that's going to be about 6.5 for a 4, little less than 4. So it does meet my criteria. Now price has left there and it retraced once. So if it makes it to 22 and a half before it comes back to trigger an entry for me, I would consider this trade played out. Does that make sense, guys? But gold futures, oil futures, basically any futures, you can trade these levels all day long, 0 DTE. If you're trading the options, though, like GLD, or you're trading names like Apple, Amazon, I would just be more conservative, give myself a little bit more time than a 0 DTE because these names have Wednesday expiration. You could trade them 0 DTE. Give me 1 second, guys. I got to tell my cousin bye. She's leaving. All right, sorry about that, guys. My cousin came into town to celebrate her 45th birthday. Um, and so they're leaving, going down to Venice Beach for a couple of days before going back to Kansas. All right, looks like we're playing out. Yep, definitely. Anyone short? Did anyone go ahead and short the gold futures there for that target? Anyone? Anyone? 48.19. There you go. And you're getting a bounce from there. Uh, nice trade. Either way, nice trade to go short below the PMZ. And a great example of how the PMZ does work all throughout the day. Next target here is going to be 48.05.8. This is also, remember, the area that would be a buy zone on gold. BJ, do I hold trades overnight? If it's a day trade and I intended it to be a day trade, I'm typically out of them by the end of the day. The time I would hold them longer would be if the trade is completely paid for, BJ, and that runner is just 100% profits. Henry, this trade played out either aggressive or conservative, and let me show you why. So when you're asking, do you just take the break or do you take the candle close? I'm going to show you. It played out aggressively multiple times. It played out here, it played out here, it played out here, it played out here. All right. And that you never would have been stopped out. You never had a candle close above the top of the PMC. Okay. You see the aggressive way, Henry? The aggressive is the break of the PMZ. and your stop's a candle close above. So the aggressive approach played out. It started playing out at 11:05 Eastern. 11:05 Eastern. It's when it started playing out. It was never stopped out because you never had a candle close above the top of the PMZ. Then the conservative approach is after it closes below the PMZ on a retrace to the PMZ, that would trigger a conservative entry. So the conservative entry happened at 11:25. The aggressive entry at 11:05, the conservative at 11:25, and that thing has played out almost a second target. Google's at the PMZ. Let's go look at it. Google right here. Let's go look. I'm all about it. Let's go. All right. Risk to reward. Here's the line in the sand. I mean, it is resistance because price is below it right now, but price is right at it. I would go ahead and include, look, for me, Google's PMZ has to be this wide. Google's PMZ has to be this wide for me because I have a trendy edge right here and I have a line in the sand right here. So Google's PMZ has to be this wide for me. And then my target is going to be, if you wanted to be, just take this. Obviously, this was my sell zone this morning, 334.09. You can just use that as your first target, or you could run some fibs from the high this morning to the most recent low, find that 50 fib or that 38.2 in the 618 and use that as a target. Completely up to you, depending on how aggressive you want to be or conservative you want to be with the targets. I'm not going to mark that 618 because it's basically at that sell zone. So you can use 333.49 as a target or wait for 334.09. Right now, the only trade is to me, because price is coming from above to the PMZ, I'm looking to go long. So if I use my confirmation process here, just like I would with SPX and how I traded SPX for income, remember I said the width of this PMZ would be, or the width, or this whole gray box would be my PMZ. So even though I'm on a 3-minute chart looking for confirmation, I know where that PMZ is because of this gray box. Now, my confirmation is looking for higher low followed by a break above. So on this trade here on the 3-minute, here's a low, here's a higher low, but notice you have no break above. That means that trade never triggered. Now, if this candle makes a lower low, then I need to start this process again. Or if we actually get this break above, then it's a triggered trade to the upside. So I'm going to create an alert at or above to clue me in that the trade has triggered. And then we can go long Google PMZ. Now, what would I trade it? What contract would I use? Well, you can do 0 DTE because you have that option. But time of day for me is going to lean me more to using the 17th. And then going here at the money or first target. So a lot of liquidity at 335 and first target 334. So it's a little higher, right, than my first target. But up to you if you want to use slightly out of the money. It's a Delta 40, not a big deal. We could use a slightly out of the money call and go long on that break, just for to show you how it triggered. I heard the alert go off. That's what told me it triggered. So remember, a stop for me is a candle close below this low. And then I'm targeting 333.49. So on this trade, since I'm in it, I need to set my sell. I'm showing y'all this as an example. That's why I didn't alert it. 333.29 is my sell, right? 33.29, is that what it was? 49, sorry. 333.49 it would be my sell, and I'm just adjusting this until that expected Google price is there, and that's my sell. And so I have it in place. So right now I have my sell already there, right? I automatically do that every single time. And then I would put an alert at my stop because I commit to candle closes or if it hits max, the max I want to lose on a trade. In this example, since it's just an example, the most I could lose would be 200 and whatever I paid for it, $20 or something. That's the most I could lose. That's below the max that I want to lose, which is 300. So I'm not really concerned about that. I would commit to a candle close. All right. Everybody understand. Now look at the 5-minute chart so you can see that on a PMZ trade, this was a PMZ trade. You got it? You see it? And there's my target. And that's how we can trade this PMZ even at this time of day. All right, let's move on to something else. I believe we looked at IWM and it just the risk to reward sucked. So I didn't take any kind of trade there, right? I believe that was the case. Let me see here. I think I've answered the question or questions as I've been talking. I don't know exactly how much time until John wants to come on. BB is asking about my SPX chart, and BB, I was trading the PMZ. So, what you're talking about, did I run it to see if the 618 level was broken? I can tell you already from the fibs that I had ran, which is this rally this week, definitely no 618 has been even close to being broken. The market pulled back like 8 points to come back to the PMZ. So, total range of the day at that time was a total of 20 points, BB. So it did not break any kind of Fibonacci level that I was paying attention to. But that trade was strictly a PMZ trade and it's set up for me both aggressive and conservative to take the trade. And I believe if you were in this room, John, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe John had an ES futures trade at that same time, right? Is that correct? Didn't y'all get long ES futures at the PMZ at that same time? Yeah, that's what I thought. So, BB, if you were in here when John got long the futures at the PMZ, it's that same trade. All right. Let's see. Any other questions that you might have or any other charts you want to look at? I didn't go over NVIDIA. NVIDIA's up at supply zones. Golly, look at that. Oh, wow. Look at my, we're at the upper yearly edge. So I've already trimmed that level on my long term. I don't know. Gosh. I don't know if I trim here again. Let me look. 2025. Hmm. I think I might trim some long-term NVIDIA equity here at the upper yearly edge. So give me a second, guys, to get into that other account and go ahead and trim some NVIDIA equity. I'm going to put an alert in. The alerts for those of you, such as Twins Mom, I know you pay attention to these trades. Um, I am trimming some NVIDIA equity at the upper yearly edge. All right, I'm up that alert, and then give me a second to actually trim from my account. Dadgummit, that's stupid. Getting used to these commands. All right. And I will share this chart in the question mark of that trade. By the way, if you ever wonder for my long-term equity trades, the charts are saved in the note titled Melissa's Trade Notes, I think. So, yeah. All right, there we go. Nice move on NVIDIA at the upper yearly edge. Great play there. I'm going to go to my weekly chart. Look, there's no weekly supply. Technically there is because this is inside and down. Okay, I lied. This is weekly supply. You see the inside and then the down candle. So all from here, we are in supply. All right. Now let's look at the daily chart. And I've left this daily supply zone that has been tested so many multiple times on here. But today, if we close above 198.07, if we close above that upper yearly edge today, this, my friends, is absolutely 100% a time for me to take this supply zone off the chart. And sorry, golly, let me go sell. All right, there we go. I just heard, I think our Google trade. Anybody take that trade with me? Did Google just trim? I think Google just made it to target. Did Google just make it to target? Magic! How hard was that, guys? Did I sound stressed out? Did I sound stressed out at all on that trade? Of course I was not. Microsoft update, Jasper Smith. By the way, good to see you, my friend. Let's see, 425 is my sell on Microsoft. But look, if you're itching here at an upper monthly edge, I wouldn't blame you one bit for taking a little bit of profits on shares that I bought at 369. But for me, my sell on Microsoft Jasper is 425. It's already set. So I'm not going to mess with this one early. I just don't think I need to. I mean, 413 is another option if you don't want to wait to 425. Okay. Awesome. Way to go, guys. IWM still in the PMZ. Screw that because there wasn't good risk to reward. Google Trade was a great example of how you can trade the PMZ all day long. Those of you that wanted to trade IWM, for me, it's a no because the risk is greater than the reward. And what I mean by that is I would use the line in the sand here as my to figure my risk, and that's going to give me a risk of about 40 cents. And my reward is only 26 cents. So, not a good enough risk to reward for me to take that trade. And that's why I'm not taking the trade. Gold, I believe, was the same thing, but it's back at the PMZ. Oh, no, gold was actually an opportunity to potentially go short. So actually, you're getting another opportunity to potentially short gold. And I'm not sure if the gold futures PMZ is exactly the same. So let's look. It is. So you got an opportunity again to short gold if you want to short gold here at the PMZ. Anybody feel like you want to see that together? If you do, you can let me know and I will be a guinea pig to do it again. Yeah. Yeah, you want to do that? So, just like I mentioned with Google, I would not do 0 DTE. Now, if you want to, you can do 0 DTE. Gold is a little more expensive to trade. Maybe I'll do a 0 DTE since it's just an example. But let's wait for the confirmation here. How about that? If we use this opportunity to wait for the confirmation. First thing I need to do, because I am going out to from a 5 to a 3 minute chart, is I need to make this PMZ gray. Okay. And I would use that 442 as my stop. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to a 3 minute chart right here. And we're going to talk about the confirmation process. We taught it in the class, and John has an indicator that he has on his chart that automatically does this. I don't have that indicator, so I have to manually do it, but it is off of the process that I've taught. So I'm comfortable manually talking to you about this. Here is the high. Here so far is a lower high. And then the entry is going to be a break of the body of the 3 minute candle, and I just don't have that yet. Then the reward is going to be here and here. So the risk to reward would have to make sense for me. But if you took the aggressive approach, you're already short. I'm just showing you the conservative approach and waiting for the confirmation. Okay. Spreads are wide on the GLD. Let's look. Yeah, they are actually pretty wide for sure. On both sides, whether and regardless of liquidity, you got a pretty wide spread. As always, bid mid, and if you want to get a little bit cheaper, go a few cents below, right? Don't pay the natural when you got a wide bid ask spread. Okay. All right. Still waiting on the confirmation here since I turned it to the 3 minute chart. Looks like high, lower high, and a break of body if we were already looking at it, but we weren't. So this one I'm going to go off of and teach off of. Boy, oh boy, this market is on fire. 5.5 points from all-time high on ES, guys. All right, here is the trigger. is below 441.21. That gives you a 32-cent risk, and reward is about golly, 40, no, 35 reward for a 32 risk. So very close, what have you. Like I said, I would go to the mid and I would bid it down a couple of points, see if you get a fill. Um, and again, I'm just doing this for to show y'all. So here, wait, I went calls. Oh my gosh, guys, that's how quick that can happen. Let's go to the put side. What do you say? All right, let's try this again. All right, there's a fill on this trade. Now, immediately I come in and I want to put my sell in at 440.86. So I go to this trade and I go to sell and single and I adjust this. 440.86, I think is what I said. 44086. And there is that. And go to sell. And then vice versa for my stop, it is a alert, and it is above that 441.53. So I got my alert for my stop and I have my sell in at first target. Okay, so now I'm in the gold trade. Do I need to sit and babysit this chart the entire time? No. And I would suggest you not do that because it causes you to do silly things. Let's look at Tesla. What a freaking rally on Tesla. Holy mackerel. Not yet where I'm going to trim those shares bought down here, but nice rally nonetheless. I love it. Nice, very, very nice rally. Those of you, anyone in a Tesla trade right now, uh, you know, if you're in something that isn't long term, you are coming up into a weekly supply. And I don't know, is this a John trade? I don't want to give you any advice if it's his trade. But you are coming up to weekly supply. This is an inside and down on the weekly chart. Okay. Let's look at Tesla from the PMZ. Uh, Let me just clear this off because obviously that was busted like a champ. Let's look at the PMZ. Whoa. Hey, you feeling FOMO? You know what to do. Don't be FOMO'd into trades. Run your fibs. Feeling FOMO on Tesla for a day trade. This is a trend, a strong bullish trend. The 5-minute cloud has been support. We actually haven't even touched it since 9:45 this morning. Here's your buy the dip opportunity in Tesla. So if you're feeling FOMO for a quick day trade in Tesla, I would wait for a pullback to here. And then, of course, you can target back up here where the high was today. Okay. All right, guys, I think I'm done. I feel like we've went over quite a bit. I'm not sure. I've been on for about an hour. Do y'all have any questions for me? I want to provide value during the challenge, so I need to hear from you what you need. So any questions you have, I'd be happy to answer those over the next few minutes. If not, then I'm going to hop off of here. Awesome. Very good. All right. It was fun, Trendy fam. Got some trades, got some wins. And now, oh, speaking of gotten some wins, I believe gold just hit that target. Anybody else take that trade? Gold just trimmed it. All right. Guys, I know this is where it was set, but gold just trimmed. So, yeah, there it is. There's your trim on gold. Awesome. All right. Much love, fam. Couple quick wins showing you how to trade the PMZ any time of the day.